Yeah, so talk a little bit more about that base money idea. Obviously, you already gave some examples. For example, transactions should be paid or settled using, or for example, in that case, using Atom. On NFT marketplaces, you price things in Atom. What do you mostly refer to that when you say that Atom should be the base money of the interchain? Do you mean that, for example, IBC traffic should be routed through the hub mostly and also paid an extra fee for that service? Is this one of the use cases, or maybe you can give some examples here?
Yeah. So, okay. Yes, I think NFTs being priced in atoms is actually very important. I think, Agoric is launching their stablecoin pretty soon, and that is like going to be primarily atom backed, which I think is great, because you deposit, it's like kind of like a maker like system, and you deposit atoms as collateral and you get back this like run stable coin. So I think that's a good thing. And osmosis, right? Like atoms being like, currently there's more liquidity in the Osmo pools than the atom pools. And, there's a lot of, there's been a lot of pressure within the this has been this big debate within the osmosis community of whether osmosis should be like giving so much incentives to these atom based pools versus moving more of the incentives only into the Osmo pools and UST pools. And, I feel like the Cosmos Hub could be doing more to like make sure that the osmosis community is incentive aligned to make atoms that base pair rather than something like UST and Osmo, because like, I'll say that, we've been working pretty closely with like the Terra team on, and they are very like, they have it as a mission of theirs to like make sure UST becomes the base money of the entire Cosmos ecosystem. And they've been like working with us on like designing incentive programs and with like giving Luna to, working with different projects within the ecosystem to like have them pair their assets against UST. And it's like, that sort of, business development, but like I don't know, I like to think of these as DAO to DAO business development. It's rather than B2B, it's like D to D. But like, doing this kind of work to like make sure that everyone in the ecosystem is like gung-ho about atoms and wants to like price things in atoms, and also making sure that there's like reasons to do this, where like part of the reason is like, things are priced in ETH is it's one of the easiest things for people to get their hands on and like use. And currently in the Cosmos ecosystem, atoms are that. But I think that, we need to keep that, system going. Like, make sure that there's more custody solutions for atoms, make sure that atoms are more integrated into on-ramp systems, and like, just making sure that atoms are the easiest thing to use, and thus they become, anyone who's building a product in Cosmos, if they want to provide the best, what you need to do is make it that anyone who's building a product in the Cosmos ecosystem, in order for them to provide the best UX to their users, they should want to use atoms, right? Like that. I think that once you can solve that, right now it seems very much that the atom community is trying to pressure projects into like using atoms and like shaming them if like, oh, you're not, why aren't you using atoms for this? But it's like, no, you should make it so it's like a no-brainer for projects to want to use atoms.
I see. Yeah. I can definitely see how UST could become the predominant stablecoin of the Cosmos ecosystem, similar to what USDT and now maybe more and more USDC is for the broader crypto and especially Ethereum ecosystem. But I think still Atom is in a very good spot here to like remain that. You see, for example, all these airdrops. I mean, obviously now a lot of new projects airdrop their coins to Osmo LPs and holders and stakers. But I think still the majority of the airdrops gets to Atom holders, right? That's also how Osmosis launched in the first place, how I became a Osmo holder and on day one through this airdrop, which was really nice. So yeah, this is interesting. Now let's talk a little bit about the shared security thing. I think last time we talked, we're still like the term interchain security per se was pretty new. I think you were one of the ones who kind of like phrased this term. So what can you say? The informal team led by Ethan, the co-founder of Cosmos, they released an article 2 days ago, I think, basically saying, oh yeah, we're going hard now on interchain security. It's coming. Here's some demos, how it's going to be looking like. Validators can basically choose and individually negotiate with projects to kind of like secure their chain as well. So what are your thoughts on the current, maybe first of all, on the architecture, how interchain security is designed? And then the second question, how do you view Atom's role in that whole thing? And do you think it's going to accrue enough value to make Atom as the heart of the interchain?
Yeah, I love the work that the informal and ICF teams have been doing on this, right? Like, I think so. The architecture wise, I think this is great because I was the one who came up with a lot of this architecture back when I was still at Tendermint, and obviously we've been iterating on it with a lot of people, and yeah, so I think that this shared security design is like. I like this. I personally like this way better than what's in Polkadot and things like that, right? I think this is the more bottom up mechanism of shared security that makes sense. And so now it's just a matter of like executing on it, and it's getting this to a point where it's live and in production, and yeah, I think right now it's mostly just an execution thing. Like, I guess one thing I'm very happy is I think that I think the informal team is like probably the right team to execute on this. And so yeah, I think that once the Cosmos Hub delivers on this like shared security stuff, I think that will be a big important piece to like making sure the Cosmos Hub is vital to like the Cosmos ecosystem, or at least making it, I think it has positive effects to both Cosmos and the Hub, right? For Cosmos, one of the biggest issues right now is like a lot of people I talk to, there's like this concerns of like, hey, we don't want to like, we can't build on Cosmos because it's too much work to find our own validator set and like find our own security system. And it's like, this kind of acts as a showstopper for a lot of people. And the problem is, I think a lot of people like look inside the Cosmos ecosystem today and say like, hey, no one seems to want shared security. Terra doesn't want shared security. Crypto.com doesn't want shared security. Like, who wants shared security? But I think the problem is that's like survivorship bias, right? The people building in Cosmos today are the people who don't need shared security, because the people who wanted shared security aren't building in Cosmos because there's no shared security, right?
Yeah.
It's like you have to look outside the Cosmos ecosystem and see, okay, X and Y project that chose to build on Polkadot, why are they building there instead of Cosmos, right? That's the question that needs to be asked. Or why is this project building on Solana? Or what made them consider something else instead of Cosmos? And I will say, probably at least a third of the time, it is a lack of shared security.
Probably, yeah. And I think it's also a little bit kind of like narratives, right? Like, for example, in Polkadot and also Cardano's case, you have two star founders, right? The Ethereum co-founders that are leading both projects. And on Solana's case, you also have SBF. You have like huge personalities behind and star people that are involved. I think in Cosmos, like, everyone is kind of like trying to say, we're all kind of like, the same. We have all equal rights and equal, stake in this project. And I think especially Ethan and Jay, they kind of like routed a little bit back and said, we're in the background. This is for everyone to use. And I think this is also one thing that maybe, the VCs and the retailers, they're like, this doesn't really sound too interesting to me. I'd rather go, to watch Charles Hoskinson's 5-hour live streams every other day. So yeah, I think this is one thing. I think it's very like naive and very like basic, but I think this is really one thing. And then the other thing is potentially, like you said, some of the features like what Polkadot had with the parachain auctions. And it's not just they have it because they only have it since 2 weeks, but they have been marketing this for 1 year, 1.5 years, right? Like, oh, parachains are coming. And they have built up this momentum for over a year. So that's...
And the problem here is it's not like Cosmos didn't try to market things, right? The problem is we were marketing the wrong thing, right? Like I feel like all of 2021 was spent like hyping people up about this gravity dex thing and be like, guys, this is gonna be the like value driver to atoms. And instead, when it launched, it was just a complete flop, right? Like just as was predicted. And it's like, and that's what I was trying to tell people, like, hey, like, you know, and that's what I was kind of worried about, like for the Cosmos Hub was like, okay, there's currently this like, you know, part of, also like part of the growth of, you know, this narrative thing about Cosmos right now. A lot of people are like, you know, when you ask them about like, oh, they don't think Cosmos is this like big ecosystem because they're like, wow, this like native token has been underperforming. Like this Atom thing is like definitely underperforming, like, you know, ABBA and DOTS and Soul and all this other stuff, right? But what people have to realize is that's what, you know, I tweeted this the other day where it's like 5 out of the top 20, top 30 crypto projects are like built on the Cosmos SDK, right? And if you go through a list of the top 200 market cap assets, like Cosmos has the most after Ethereum, obviously, you know, okay, obviously most of them are on Ethereum, but like, you know, Cosmos has more projects in the top 200 than Solana, Avalanche, BSC, like any of these ecosystems. There's like, I think like, I don't know, what was it? Maybe 10 to 15 of the projects in the top 200 are built on Cosmos. And like, so in a way, Cosmos is like, you know, in a lot of ways, it sort of was a rejection of the fat protocol thesis, where it's like, hey, instead of all the value accruing to these native tokens, it gives a way for like people who are building these applications to build tokens, and these tokens, the application layer tokens, are the ones that accrue the value. And you know, I think one of the issues is like, so there's so much attention or so much negative view of the Cosmos ecosystem is caused because of Atoms underperforming, and I think that comes primarily from the Cosmos Hub's like misexecution over the past year, right? And I think that a lot of that stems from focusing in on the wrong things.